Our speaker is Andrea Ann Trinidad from Ateneo de Manila University in Philippines. Today, she presents her talk on the topic Love Alamat, Love Alamat, loving a Pinoy pop boy group and the multi-layered narrative it entails. Andrea Ann Trinidad teaches courses in literature and popular culture at Ateneo de Manila University, where she also obtained her ABMA in Filipino literature. Her academic interests lie in the fields of fan studies and popular romance. Today, she will give a talk on the topic Love Alamat, loving a Pinoy pop boy group and the multi-layered narrative it entails.
Thank you. Good day from Manila. I am Anne Trinidad and I am here to present my paper entitled Love Alamat, Explicating Multilayered Narratives Involved in Loving a Pinoy Pop Boy Group. In 2019, a Filipino play entitled Fangirl emphasized the reality about fanish tendencies in articulating the line, once a fangirl, always a fangirl. It could not be truer for a fangirl like me who can easily define eras of my personal life in relation to the idols I admired. From Taiwanese boys starring the hit television series Meteor Garden back when I was 7, to American rock band Fall Out Boy when I was 12, to global pop icon Justin Bieber when I was 15, to British YouTubers and Brit pop band The Vamps when I was 18, to One Direction when I was 19, the cyclical experience of discovering something interesting, falling down the rabbit hole of getting to know more about them, and centering them as the object of my personal affection seems to already be embedded to who I am. Fandom and fangirling became more ingrained as an aspect of my identity when I involved myself to fan studies as an academic discipline. Always being reminded to research on something I personally love, I opted to do both an undergraduate and graduate thesis on the British Irish boy band One Direction, a seemingly unfitting choice for someone who is completing a degree on Filipino literature. Good thing that my advisor and panelists are kind enough to guide me in realizing the intersection of popular culture and gender politics in my topic of choice, birthing a fan culture analysis of Filipino One Direction fans that is rooted in their productive capacities of writing, disseminating, and reproducing male-to-male romance fan fiction with Larry Style and Son as their main ship. In this entire ordeal, one thing that struck me the most was when the panelists asked who my favorite One Direction member is. Without hesitation, I answered Harry Styles and Louis Tomlinson, as indeed they are my 1B OTP, or one true pair, that guided my choice of scholarly analyzing Larry Stylinson's text. The said panelists then replied, why white boys? Why not Zayn Malik? Alluding to his Asianness as half Pakistani, that is perhaps more aligned to what should be my racial politics as a Filipina who majors in Filipino language, literature, and popular culture. I am aware of the implicit violence of white love, primarily brought upon by centuries long colonialism and imperialism that successfully entrenched the inferiority of Filipinos to Filipinos themselves. White love as a desire for all things white and foreign is an approximation of the much longed for power and influence that is sometimes even congruent to the experience of economic mobility. Having articulations from canonical literary texts like Jose Rizal's No Limita Angere and El Filibusterismo, which in portion narrates the life of Doña Victorina, a Filipina character who got herself a Spanish husband just to continually assert her status over the rest, to being analyzed as a much more recent phenomenon with the rise of mail order brides and its popularization via shows like 90 Day Fiancé, the existence of white love as the central inquiry of the seemingly fun thesis defense question motivated me to start reflecting on my consistent desire for white men as idols. Before I can fully begin to scratch the surface for answers, my point of interest shifted to something unexpected. After spending quarter of my life as a desiring female body that is adept at negotiating with countless transnational media products that dictate Philippine media landscape, I suddenly became engrossed with Alamat, a six-member sing, dance, rap, Philippine pop boy group whose members hail from different provinces, bringing with them their multilingual and multi-ethnic nature that serves as a basis for everything that they produce, from their songs to their choreography and music video concepts. Unlike my previous idols, who I got to love first before formally becoming the object of my academic inquiry, Alamat first served a utilitarian function for a Filipino teacher like me who is in search of an entertaining content that can serve as a springboard to my lectures on the difference between a language and a dialect. Releasing a debut single entitled Kbay in February of 2021, a song narrated in 8 spoken Philippine languages from Bisaya, Hiligaynon, Waray-Waray, Kapampangan, Bicol, Ilocano, Tagalog, and English, provided an opportunity for my students who mostly speak English as their mother tongue to become aware of the complexity of the category Filipino. Soon, Alamat continued to captivate my interest beyond classroom purposes. 2 years after they debuted, they exceeded the way they advocated for the Filipino to fully embrace a solid identity that coincides with how I personally want the concept of Filipino to be grasped by my students. With Alamat's existence in Philippine pop scene, music is used to elevate audiences' familiarization to the folk, which has always been confined in conversations done by small circle of Filipino academics and scholars. Sampling bits of folk songs in their releases like Tagalog folk song Sitsiritsit Alibangbang in Hala, Ilonggo folk lullaby Ili Ili Tulog Anay in Ili Ili, and Cordilleran Dongdong Ay, si Dong Ilay in Sinalidumay in Dongdong Ay, Alamat goes far back to the indigenous times to assert an important layer to the Filipino identity that is sometimes just being glossed over in school curricula. Apart from the folk, they have also articulated the existence of Islam in the island's pre-Spanish occupation with their song Dayang, which literally translates to Muslim princess, and with the music video of their hit song Maharani, meaning Great Queen, which is inspired by the epic tale of the Singkil dance from Lanao del Sur in Mindanao. Active in laying the landmarks in Philippine history song after song, Alamat has also recently released the title track of their first album, which is Dagundo, a 2-minute, 30-second rap song that narrates the colonial history of the Philippines from the arrival of Magellan's Spanish fleet in Mactan to the collusion of the Spaniards and Americans, where the latter, through the Treaty of Paris, brought the Philippine Islands along with Puerto Rico and Guam for 20 million US dollars. Paired with the release is a music video that highlights Philippine national heroes like Lapu-Lapu, Andres Bonifacio, and the revolutionary forces of the Katipunan, to unnamed ones who valiantly fought for the land. The Gundong isn't the first Alamat song that highlighted Filipinos' colonial experience and their struggle for independence. In an earlier release, the group has injected their song Kasmala, Malakas in reverse, meaning strong, with Filipinos' experience of the US. First, as human display in the 1904 St. Louis Fair that further highlighted America's propaganda of depicting Filipinos as the savage, dog-eating little brown brothers that need saving. And second, as farm migrant workers, collectively known as the Manoks, Ilocano word for older brother, who face racism, discrimination, and exploitation. In making sure to represent the folk, the colonial, and the contemporary that is born out of the mingling of the two, Alamat's existence as P-pop boy group aligned to the metaphor I share with my students in seeking to make them fully aware of how complex Filipino identity and culture is. A sapin-sapin, or a multi-tiered rice cake of different colors and flavors that mimics the multi-layered quality of the identity that cannot be reduced to purest nor singular notions. Alamat tapping into my academic geekiness and professional advocacy as a Filipino teacher made me into a full-blown magiliw, the official fandom name of Alamat fans, which the dictionary defines as masintahin or passionate, maibigin or loving, malambing or tender. Interestingly enough, Magiliw is an apt choice to represent the fans of a band like Alamat. Despite being sung almost every day by school children, as it is part of the first line of the Philippine national anthem, it is considered as a deep Filipino word that is not ordinarily used in everyday conversation. In a talk they attended at Philippine Studies at SOAS, Alamat was given the chance to define Magiliw, and they did so in listing out qualities such as affectionate, tender, and sweet-tempered. Beyond academia, however, in fan spaces like Stan Twitter, Magiliws are known to be the calmest bunch among the fandoms, especially in a competitive scene like Philippine pop. The fandom's love for the boys inspires their productive fanish practices, being influenced by Alamat's primary motive to push Filipino representation into the mainstream. The recent birthday celebration of a member, as an example, was designed as an educational discussion on the responsible use of Philippine indigenous textile and was held at the country's premier university. Days before the group held their first ever solo concert last December 1, their fandom arm in Baguio Benguet, that is 245 kilometers north of Manila, also held educational Twitter space where Cordilleran indigenous music and instruments were discussed. Alongside Alamat's solid branding as a group and how Magiliws as their fan base echo it in their own fan projects and activities, another layer that comprises what seems to motivate me to fully embrace them as my object of affection and love are the individual boys themselves who are unique in showing their appreciation to the fans. Inspired by a 15-minute video entitled Photo Op plus Fan Interaction, Alamat Live at Viva Cafe Round 3, Fancam, posted by Amagiliw on YouTube, this presentation's title, Love Alamat, asserts that loving the group is a mutual process where members Taneo, Jao, Mo, Tomas, RG, and Alas are also putting in work to show how much they love their fans. Belonging in fandom spaces for quite some time, I am aware that it is not new to claim one's idol as the most loving, just like what I have expressed. However, as someone who used to commit to foreign idols accustomed to just gazing from afar, quite literally, it is refreshing to find closeness to idols who share the same environment as I do, have the same humor that I understand, and immerse in the same everyday culture I am very much familiar with. Despite being named after legends or a particular set of Filipino folk tales that conventionally narrates stories of harsh disciplining for younger audiences to imbibe the community's mores and values, Alamat, through loving through the loving environment they try to nourish, has widely transformed my fangirling experience. While I classify all of these as my homecoming, finally able to affectionately dedicate time and attention as a fangirl to someone close to home, a colleague labeled it as decolonized desire. Something to think further about, but for now, I am quite contented that my affection for Alamat has the ability to make sense of my previously scattered love for music, my love for boys who do good music, my love for my chosen profession, and my love for the advocacy I share with my students, which are all now thoroughly proven together. Here are my references, and thank you so much for listening.